mouth. Francis Leggett, Buglock Jim Burns, Buglock Harry Burns, Buglock Brendan O'Callaghan, Sinn Féin Paddy Brady, Civilians Daniel Rooney, Peter Watterson, Ronnie MacDonald, Anthony McGrady, Sadie Larmer, Paddy McAllister, John Devine, Michael Lenihan, Michael O'Dwyer, Shopkeepers Sean Hughes, Laurie Merchant, and Jim Carson.
Wreaths will now be led on behalf of the Republican Movement, St James's ex-POW, Sinn Féin, and on behalf of the St James's Commemoration Committee. Could I now invite the family members to lay their wreaths or flowers? The next part in our proceedings, I'll invite Gerry Adams, TD, to address you, and we're very honoured and privileged to have him here today.
Gora mil magat, Bridge agus Tame Gohan Brodwell, a bay Livshus and Oich Allin Shaw and Gargin, Kibnyahan, Wincher and Cantor Starroll Shaw. Agus fi me on be Magina on nor Oscaldmich and Gargin couple of Bliano hen agus Mara a Durt Bridge Major ni bay Magina on Romanic Acta Chowley Gar Paisty agus Paisty our Carja our Comradaha Tashidan Shaw a re the blend agus Bawalion Foster just taken Ur Jacker a seal Machaila Hain, John Magweas a hordes to Dini, Mar and Gra, August and Taka, a V Shivsha, August and Tash Shivsha, a court's doing. Very proud to be here speaking at this memorial garden, and I remember when it was opened, I think 4 years ago, according to Shasu. And as Breach reminds us, maybe some of us only get here once a year or once every so often, but the children and the grandchildren of those who we honour here come quite often throughout the year, and their families come to remember our comrades and our friends from the St James's district. And I also, just in a difficult time in the life of my own family, want to thank everybody who has sent us messages of love and support and respect in recent times. So Tamwich Fear Quake, Dave Shikulnyar. This is a neighbourhood, a community which has suffered grievously since its inception. You know, there are lots of big anniversaries in this time. We see the Commemoration flag here, the Commemoration 100 years ago. So think of all those indomitable women from this neighbourhood, all those wee women who beat the Brits over many, many years and refused to bow the knee. Volunteers was founded. Na Fianna was founded up in the Rock Streets. by Countess Markovich and a man called Bulmer Hobson, and James Connolly himself lived at the top of the road here, just in the front of the neighbourhood. So there's a long history of people being involved in the struggle for democracy and for unity and for justice and for freedom coming from here. And we're very, very honoured that we knew some of them. Just ordinary citizens who came forward, members of Sinn Féin, volunteers, and just people who were perhaps not a member of anything, but took a stand, were brave, and assisted and pushed and in a good humoured way stayed with the struggle. And this area, particularly being an interfaith area, has also suffered from the scourge of sectarianism. Now, these are different times. Yesterday was the 5th of October, and I think somewhere like 44 years ago, the big march, and small march actually, it wasn't that big, in Gerry. And the televising of that brought the whole issue of rights and repression and discrimination onto the world stage. And 44 years is a very long time in a person's life. But in history, it's only a blink. It's only a short time. So those of us who have been part of the struggle, however small we may think we played a part, however minor we might think our role was, we should be very, very proud that we've brought things to a totally different dispensation. Now, there's still a lot of turbulence about. We've had a summer in which the unionist community didn't get any real positive leadership from those who are elected to lead it. We've seen a summer where sectarianism and the mob took over Belfast city centre. And what's interesting is that some of these parties, these unionist parties, would have proclaimed themselves as law and order parties. They would have said that Sinn Féin before we got into talks, or Sinn Féin before we signed up to policing, or Sinn Féin before we were able to represent our people, had to be law-abiding. When in fact these communities have always been law-abiding. We stood against bad law, but we were always about the mutual good of the communities that we come from. So what do we get when hundreds of PSNI officers are injured? What do we get when the homes of the Alliance Party are attacked in their offices, when Sinn Féin councillors get death threats, when the mayor of this city is assaulted? What do we get from unionist leaders? Silence. Young woman shot 5 times about a fortnight ago. Imagine if that had happened in one of our neighbourhoods. Imagine if there was not a word about that from Sinn Féin councillors or MPs or MLAs. So the leadership of the DUP has a lot of catching up to do. Leadership of the UUP has a lot of catching up to do. And we've got to understand that what's happening here is resistance to change. Might be too slow for some of us, might be too incremental, but it's change nonetheless. And there's a reluctance to embrace that change. So we see the old fundamentalists on the one hand, who don't want any of us around them whatsoever. Then we see the competition for votes. Then we see the alliance between the PUP, the UBF, and the Orange Order, all resisting progress, all trying to prevent democracy, all trying to prevent the struggle towards Irish unity. Because with the Good Friday Agreement, apart from opening up democratic rights and equality, and of course there are lots of things that have not been done. Acna Gaeilge isn't there, Civic Forum isn't there, the Bill of Rights isn't there. There are lots of other issues that we need to keep working on. But what these people in leadership fail to understand, that the interests of the vast majority of the people of this state and of this island are not served and is not served by sectarianism. So we calmly compare Martin McGuinness's leadership. You remember, Martin stood and annoyed some Republicans, stood shoulder to shoulder with Peter Robinson and the PSNI Chief Constable and laid it down his view when some so-called dissidents shot PSNI officers. We compare that type of resolute, determined, robust, assertive leadership with, for example, the reneging on the programme for government commitment to develop a peace centre on the site of the Hayes Blocks Hospital. But none of this is going to work. Might slow it down, might delay it, might take us up and down little sectarian cul-de-sacs. But while people from this area keep faith, while we have a sense of what we're doing, both in terms of defending our own rights, reaching out the hand of friendship, and reaching out the hand of friendship to the Orange, despite their antics, reaching out the hand of friendship to unionist paramilitaries, and to the DUP, and to the UUP, and the others. But on the basis of equality. Not on the basis of us bowing the knee, on the basis of friendship and equality. Good Friday Agreement also opens up a peaceful and democratic way to have a united Ireland. And we're told, well, nobody wants it. Well, if that's the case, then let's have the border pull. Let's test it. Nobody wants it, then that's fair enough. What are they afraid of? And we put it to the two governments to organise a border poll so that the people can decide upon the future. So sin ma couple of focal Garladar and Majin Donach Grainwer Shaw. It's a beautiful late October Indian summer morning here in St James's, so I'm not going to delay you as much. Father, the great tradition in republicanism is to speak for a very long time until it rains, so it's not going to rain today. Thank you all for keeping the faith. Thanks especially to the families of those we honour here today. And you have borne the big burden. You have felt the loss. You've had to shape your lives. You've had to get on with your lives. You've had to rear your children and your grandchildren. And you've done so and should be proud of your contribution. So Gora Mila, my August, mar adjourn, agus Crejim Shin, go fear Kinsha, go jockey Arla, Gora Mila Mago.
On behalf of all of us, I'd like to thank Gerry very much for that. And I know we're all standing here today and we might not be on the same road as we were in the 70s or the road we were on in the 80s or the 90s or even in 2000, but every journey makes us take many roads, and hopefully we'll all see that end goal of United Ireland on the journey together. This has been a fantastic weekend, and I hope our families have felt it and felt the support of our community, because we do feel their loss and we do know the sacrifice that they've made, from the sons and the daughters to the grandchildren. I'd just like to thank people who made this weekend so successful. The O'Neill Allsopp band played on Friday night and today, and they were absolutely fantastic. The young Nafina Aaron boys and girls are an inspiration to us all, because they're our future. Yesterday in the Felons, we had a fantastic Irish volunteer exhibition, and our friends from Cork brought that up here the first time in the North, all at their own expense, and it was their own choosing to come up because they wanted to be part of the Greater St James's Commemoration. The exhibition was fantastic in itself, and their help and support for us was absolutely so much appreciated by everybody, and we'd really like to thank our Cork friends. Finally, I want to thank the Colour Party. This is the first time we've had an all-woman Colour Party, and it's in tribute to the centenary that we're facing at the founding of Commemoration. But it's also in tribute to the women of this area. There's men in this area, or in this grouping today, from the area who were involved from the 70s right through. There's also women standing here today, and they'd be horrified if their story was ever told, because it would be an inspiration to everybody. and the colour party is in tribute to them as well as to the women of Ireland. Once again, just thank you all for coming, and just a reminder that the Commemoration Committee is an open door. Anybody who wants to join us, please, you're very, very welcome. This garden, as I say, belongs to everybody. It doesn't belong to us, doesn't belong to any individual or anything else. It's our garden, and you're very, very welcome to join the Commemoration Committee at any time. I'd just like to call for the colour party to be dismissed.
Rod. Aye, Rod. Rod, step again.